Hey, good evening, everyone. Weather for Weather Geeks time. I always feel like the pumpkin with Andrew's face on it is watching Weather for Weather Geeks. This was turned around to face the other way last week. Now it's ominously lurking in the background, checking out these videos. All right, today we got to 65 this afternoon after 64 the previous 2 days. Average high 48, 49. So once again, we were really playing with house money today. Gusty wind continues. We've had some gusts up to 35, and now the big story becomes the rain. It's going to push in as we go through the overnight. Now, when I hit record on this, it was 7:25 p.m. This is what the radar looked like at that point. Some light rain pushing in, but this is just a little bit of a precursor of what's to come. The more substantial rain off to the west, and we expect the radar to even fill in as we go through the night tonight. I'll show you the computer models in just a second. But a pretty good wall of water heading our way with this cold front that is tracking east. They've had a busy evening down in the southeast with severe weather, several confirmed tornadoes in the panhandle of Florida, and heading up into the southwestern suburbs of Atlanta, including some damage. I've seen some pictures of some damage to the suburban Atlanta area. They're going to continue to keep an eye out for heavy storms with the wind damage threat in the upstate of South Carolina, out across the Piedmont of North Carolina, and across parts of Georgia tonight as well. Of course, it is going to turn colder behind our front. Here's a look at the current temperatures at 7:30 p.m. It's not a huge, Arctic plunge here by any stretch of the imagination, but this cooler air mass will be pushing in, and it'll feel like November finally by tomorrow night and heading into Friday. Well, tomorrow will probably still be fairly mild. We'll only drop down into the mid-50s tonight. Temperatures won't rise much tomorrow, but they'll rise a few degrees, so spend most of the day in the 50s for our Thursday. All right, so let's take a look at the high-resolution computer model here, or we call it the high-resolution rapid refresh. This is a model that updates once an hour. It ingests all the current radar data, in addition to all the physics and equations and all sorts of complicated stuff that is baked into the model. We are able to show the simulated radar product here. A lot of times this model is a little overdone with its radar presentation. In other words, what it shows is a little just too strong for what reality is. And as you can see, it is overdoing the current radar a little bit, showing more yellows than actually do exist. But nonetheless, it has a pretty good handle on the timing anyway of the rain. As we go through the night tonight, here's 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., with the rain here and there throughout the valley. And then it gets a little more consistent as we go through the night. Here's midnight and 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and 3 a.m. Actually, wee hours of the morning might feature the heaviest of the rain overall when most of us are asleep at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. When people are getting up and getting ready for school and work tomorrow, the rain should be just about out of here. Here's 6 o'clock in the morning, steady rains to the east. Now, there might be some sort of residual shower for an hour or two at daybreak tomorrow, but it'll be real spotty, hit or miss. Most of us will be in the miss category. So the steady rains through about 4 or 5 o'clock, and then we're looking pretty good for the rest of the day tomorrow. All right, so in the wake of our front, tomorrow night turns colder. It drops down to about freezing. Friday's a chilly day with highs in the 40s and some sunshine. So let's skip ahead to the next interesting weather maker, the weekend. Here's Friday with that high off to our south and benign weather for the end of the week. All right, so the weekend. What we have going on here is an area of low pressure which will be tracking east. Here's Saturday morning. That low right here, kind of a warm front in through here, and a cold front just off the screen. As we go into Saturday afternoon, everything's pushing east, and I think it begins to rain. Not snow at first, but rain towards the end of the afternoon on Saturday. So if you want to rake leaves or do something outdoors, it's going to turn kind of windy, or at least breezy Saturday, but it probably won't rain until at least 3, 4 o'clock, I'm thinking. But again, the first thing we do see is rain late in the afternoon and early in the evening on Saturday. Then as the colder air wraps in behind this system, and this system's winding up here. I mean, we're talking a pressure of 998 millibars as this thing definitely strengthening during Saturday night. It's going to start pulling in that colder air, and we'll see a change over to snow showers Saturday night. And then as we progress deeper into the night and into Sunday, this will kind of evolve into a lake effect situation as first northwest winds and then eventually more west winds start to blow over the warm Great Lakes. So Sunday will feature flurries for a lot of us, especially north of 224, and lake effect for Ashtabula County, Crawford County, PA, up towards the higher elevations south of Erie, and then up into Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties in western New York. This will be a few inches worth of snow, it looks like. Now, for most of our viewing area, I don't think we see any accumulation out of this, or very little. Here's the European model. We're going to pay attention to the graph down here at the bottom. The blue bars, that's the kind of the regular European model, if you will, the deterministic model, if you will. The green bars, that's the average of the ensemble version of the European. Getting a little bit technical on you here, but basically the ensemble is I believe it's 52 or 51 member ensemble. In other words, there's 51 different runs of the European model. Each run has the initial conditions tweaked a little bit, and those initial tweaks result in different things. And when you average together all those 51 runs, you end up with a model that's predicting almost an inch of snow at the airport in Vienna. Notice that's quite a bit higher than just the regular high-resolution run of the European, which has only about 0.2 of an inch. So that's a little bit interesting. This is going to be a little hard to see with my head covering it, but this is the part you need to pay attention to right through here. The GFS is the red line, the European's the purple line, and both are under an inch at the airport for snow accumulation during the course of the upcoming weekend. So we are looking at probably just a dusting at worst in most spots, Saturday night, Sunday, but some place could get a half an inch or even an inch in far northern Trumbull and northern Mercer, I think. That should about do it for the snow this weekend. Not a big thing, not a big deal, but just kind of interesting since we're coming off such a warm stretch of weather for much of the fall season. All right, next week looks very quiet for the run up to Thanksgiving, and that's a good thing. A lot of people a week from today will be on planes, trains, and automobiles. Great Thanksgiving movie. Or they're going to have people in for the holiday. Wednesday's a big travel day. So big hubs along the East Coast looking great. Locally, we will be dry, it looks like, on Wednesday. So no problems locally for traveling. The only problems you might run into is if you're traveling west or you have someone coming in who's traveling from the west, where it will be a cold stretch of weather as we head towards Thanksgiving. Here's the 7 to 14 day temperature anomalies on the GFS ensemble. Look at these Barney purple colors out here in the northwest. We're talking about a stretch of 10 to 15 degrees below average for the northern Rockies, Pacific Northwest, even all the way down into the southwest and out into the plains. A cold stretch of weather centered right around Thanksgiving. For the east, though, it's going to be warm, at least warmer than average. We're not going to be wearing shorts, but I think we're going to see a lot of days during this stretch as we head towards Thanksgiving and even into the long Thanksgiving weekend. We see a lot of days with highs 50 to 55-ish, which doesn't sound real warm, but it's above average. Mid-40s is average for high temperatures next week. So even a 50-degree day is warmer than average. Real quick, to wrap things up, we'll check in on the climate model here for the winter, December, January, February. Not much has changed, still painting a warm picture for Canada, northern tier of the U.S., and a little cooler than average for the southern tier. Classic El Nino look to this, and we see no reason to deviate from our forecast that we put out around Halloween. Our forecast locally is for slightly below average snowfall, and temperatures this winter averaging for the 3 months to be about a degree above climatology, above the seasonal average. There'll be some cold days, sure, it's going to snow some, there might be some ice storms, but when you average together the 3 months, a little less snow than usual, and a little warmer than usual, and a big change compared to the last 2 years, which were remarkably cold and also pretty darn snowy as well. Thank you for watching this extended version of Weather for Weather Geeks on this Wednesday night. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11. Another weather briefing posted on my weather blog tomorrow morning, ericwfmj.com. Have a great night.